and start recording. We are, in theory, live, which I will be able to confirm or deny. Yes, okay, we're live. Awesome. All right. I never know if it's going to work. Every time I'm like, maybe the internet has broken. Right. Let me do my little opening spiel. Welcome to Vantage Point, the place for me, Glass Half Dead, to talk about the subject I want to talk about without having to care about my YouTube channel's analytics. So expect some heavily rambling content as I turn the conceal order, or what I want to talk about, to an engage order. A line shamelessly stolen by the Warhammer community article of the same name, Vantage Point. I figure every time they put out an article, I need to put this out so that I keep my IP, my copyright, my trademark all in order. So yeah.
You were first. I can attest to
I
it.
definitely. Oh, I've got the documents. There's no doubt about that. All right. And hello to everybody in chat. My friends. How's it going? Who do I have with me though? So there's me, Glass Half Dead. I'm a person that you might be familiar with. And the title of the stream is Kill Team Open. Now, we know Sheldon from Kill Team Stream before. Hi, Sheldon.
Hello.
Wearing a great shirt, of course, indeed.
Yeah.
Who else do we have? Who else do we have here?
I'm Dave. I was head TO for ACO out in Lake City, and I'm going to be the TO for Kill Team Open.
Awesome.
And I'm Steve Mancino. I help Dave. I'm a member of Basement Wargamers. Dave and I run a subsidiary group called Kill Team John, and we basically populate and run events on the East Coast, up in the Northeast, out of Philadelphia and the surrounding areas.
Now, if I can ask a little question here, so I've seen Kill Team John mentioned before, like around the place. And like on Facebook, somebody said that they recognized the word as being from Philly. What does it mean?
It is. So it's a placeholder noun. It's like a thingamajig or a whatchamacallit. So it can describe anything. So whenever people in the larger, Basement Wargamer Club would refer to us, they would say, "Oh, that Kill Team John," because nobody knew what we were or what we did. So we just we ran with it. It's a little slice of Philly, and there you go, little hometown pride.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, when this whole thing started, I had to Google it. I was like, what?
You know, the only thing I know about Philly, I went there once to Philadelphia, and I got off, and I went there thinking, right, I'm not going to be British about this whole thing. I'm going to be very open. I'm there to mingle. I got off. I got off the plane, got on the train to wherever the central station is. I can't remember. The very first, I was looking at a map, and some person approached me and said, "Hey, can I help you?" I was like, "Oh, that's super weird." I didn't like that. I felt uncomfortable, but I was there to be open. I was like, "Yeah, actually, I'm trying to find blah blah blah." And he said, "Oh, it's this way." And after about a minute of walking, another person turned up alongside me, who apparently was this man's wife. Turns out I had been picked up by what I assume was a crack user, or at least heroin, and they were guiding me somewhere. Long story short, I had to give them money to get away. So Philadelphia's for questionable. Yeah, don't do that. Don't be open to people. That's what I'm saying. It didn't put me in a good.
The hospitality here is so wonderful.
Yeah, it was. I didn't get shanked. I didn't get shanked, so it's fine.
I'll say that like half of our members at some point have mob relations.
Oh, okay.
In ancestry, I wouldn't say anyone has in the mob currently.
No, of course, of course.
No, but
as you legally can.
Indeed, yeah. So that's my relationship with Philadelphia.
All right, glad you had a great time.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you.
I mean, to be fair, that's a normal experience. It is.
Okay, good, excellent.
Sounds like a win.
Yeah. Hey, any day you don't get shanked is a good day, right? Indeed.
True. As someone who actually has been shanked in San Francisco.
Oh.
I
wouldn't recommend that. I would imagine.
Yeah. No. Days when you have been shanked are very terrible.
Yeah, I'm allergic to pain. I wouldn't handle it well. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, this has gone up on a very strange
Yeah.
tangent.
What an anecdote. What an
And
anecdote.
we'll
Yeah.
invite you to Kill Team Open. Come possibly discount.
Is it near Philadelphia? Because I have
It is
thoughts
not.
about that. Oh, well, maybe you'll get me there.
It is
then.
not.
Okay.
It is not. On purpose, it is not.
Right, okay.
It's
Okay.
Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, moving on. Before we dive into exactly what Kill Team Open is, or Kill Team John, I am calling it Kill Team Open, right?
Yep.
Kill Team Open.
Yeah.
So before we move on to what exactly Kill Team Open is, first let's go around the table and see what everybody's relationship with Kill Team is and why you've decided to host an event. I'm Glass Half Dead. I'm not hosting an event. Sheldon, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Sheldon. I have hosted many Kill Team events, so I've got the experience to be able to do this one. So that's why they reached out to me. I'm running the Las Vegas Open. It's gonna be coming up in January. I just ran the SoCal Open. When it comes back, I should be running the Bay Area Open. So, lots of experience running big opens, and so Steve and Dave reached out to me to get my help, and then I kind of went crazy and just did a ton of advertising stuff and pushed it up like to the next level, as I like to do. Throw all the marketing, make all the marketing really insane.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And obviously, I know you primarily for streaming as well. Are
Yep.
you planning to do a bit of streaming?
Yeah,
around
in
the
fact,
event?
that's sort of my my role at the Kill Team Open, other than like the marketing and stuff beforehand. At the actual Open, I'll be handling the streaming. I can't say right now because he's gotta get back to me, but there is a potentially awesome co-host that you would know. We can talk about it after, but
Sure.
I'll be announcing it if he gives the okay.
Okay, awesome. Ben, shall we?
Dave.
You mean Dave?
For some reason, I wanted to say Ben, Dave, and Steve all at the same time. So at least we actually have someone
Two
named
of those
Steve.
were right.
Let's go with Dave. Sorry, it's just Anglo-Christian names. They're all the same to me. You all look the same. So.
They are, and then also my Pittsburgh accent is just jumbled garbage. So
It's all American. You all sound the same to me. It's fine.
well, so again, I actually got into wargaming not too long ago. So I got into wargaming probably 3-4 years ago when I moved to Philly. I started playing Guild Ball, if anyone remembers it, skirmish. So I loved it. And I went and hung out with some guys at Basement Wargamers and decided to jump headfirst into GW stuff. So I bought some kill teams. No one played. I sold my stuff to Steve, and then the rest is history. And I bought kill teams again right after I sold my stuff to Steve. So, long story short, I absolutely love kill team. I loved 18. 21 is amazing. Honestly, I'm better at 21 than I was at 18. So
good. Good result.
But I ran ACO for Frontline Gaming whenever they reached out to me to run the Kill Team event. And I just want to make sure everyone has a good time at our events, honestly. Like, let's get a lot of prize support. Let's get a lot of fun to be had. So.
Okay, awesome. Steve, whose name I do actually know because we have spoken before. Sorry.
There you go. So, hi everybody, I'm Steve. So I run Kill Team John with Dave, and similar story to Dave. So I got into wargaming a couple years ago. I had previously been like a competitive video game player, doing like top end World of Warcraft rating and things like that. And right before the birth of my twins, I had to quit. I had no bandwidth. Gave it a couple years. Started getting actually your videos and tabletop minion videos popping up in my YouTube feed, and I was like, hey, this seems pretty interesting. I used to kind of poorly paint D&D minis back in the late 90s, but I was like, yeah, I might be able to get back into this and see what it's about. And then it's like, I need to find other people who do this. And then I fell into Basement Wargamers, met Dave, bought all of his stuff, made him rebuy all the stuff, and then we joined some leagues that were running, and we thought we could take it to the next level. So we started running some events, and the dark times hit, and we're far enough outside of Philly where we could reopen and have actual events pretty early on. And that's how we really got started. And we started learning the formulas, how to set things up. We had actually reached out to Sheldon a long time ago to get permission to use his packs. He gave us the thumbs up. And so we've been working with Sheldon kind of ever since as kind of like an information point on like how our events go and things like that. And we met our fourth partner, Ryan Wilfong. He came up with a bunch of guys from Baltimore to one of our events, and we became friends and rivals and bitter enemies, but really just close friends. And after an event over the summer called Summer Slaughter, it's a annual event that Basement Wargamers puts on where we feed everybody and tons of prize support. The prize support's ridiculous. Booze, free food, all kinds of great stuff. And we were invited to do a kill team event for Basement Wargamers. We put it on. We had 20 people show up, pretty good turnout. Command Point came down. They had a great time. Janice came up. She had a great time. But Ryan pulled us aside afterwards and he said, hey, I want to do something like this down in Baltimore. And we were like, all right, yeah, we'll think about it. And, we had a lot of late night chats and heart to heart and try to figure out how we can make it work. And something clicked at some point. And probably, God, was it like a month ago at this point? We're like, we can't do this without Sheldon. We will need Sheldon for this. I reached out, and within 5 minutes we had a website.
That sounds like Sheldon. Yeah.
But I mean, it was serendipitous. Sheldon had been thinking about this himself, and we all kind of came at it separately, and it just all met up in the middle. And he was ready to go. He had already had a lot of the marketing assets ready for this thing, because he was thinking about it himself.
Yeah, I'd been working with Zero Stride in your Discord.
Yep.
We originally had planned on doing it up in Portland, a Kill Team Open, and things kind of fell through because of Slaughterfest. Actually, had reached out to me, and it had been the same weekend, and so then that fell through. And then Slaughterfest fell through because of COVID, and so it was kind of just like this thing that had always been like, oh, maybe one day I'll be able to run a Kill Team Open. That would be cool, just for Kill Team. And then, yeah, it just happened to be serendipitous. They're like, hey, are you interested in doing like a Kill Team, kind of like a Kill Team Open type thing? And I was like, oh, here's a logo. Like, literally like 5 minutes later.
Right. Okay, so let's rein it in, because there's a lot to unpack there. I was going to say that shirt. I already see it. Right, so, oh my gosh, right. So this is no longer a Kill Team podcast. It's just me and Steve talking about Warcraft and Blizzard, I think, from now on. Sorry, guys. Because I haven't talked about that for so long. I've been so into Warhammer. I'm like, I need to talk about the Blizzard drama. That's way more interesting than this. But
I lost my, like 3 years of my life on World of Warhammer.
Only 3?
World of Warcraft.
Lightweight.
Wow.
Lightweight, my god. Also, it has to be asked, Dave, how does it feel to be the odd one out, and can you figure out why?
I don't have headsets.
You have hair, and that must be pretty embarrassing for you. I can only imagine your chagrin. Is all I'm saying. That's pretty embarrassing. It's okay.
It is a great head of hair you got there.
Is any hair good if it's on the head? I don't think so. I don't want to make you feel self-conscious, but it's kind of it's a fad. I don't think anyone really needs hair.
If it makes you feel better, my beard is absolutely horrible. Like patchy. Yeah.
What are you talking about? This isn't sarcasm.
Yeah, we've all got beards, so.
Yeah, it kind of falls down one day. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, so right, Steve, the introduction turned into a bit of a ramble into what Kill Team Open is. So let me nail down some specifics.
Yeah.
When and where does the Kill Team Open take place? For anyone that missed it.
So when is February 19th and 20th in Baltimore, Maryland?
For those that are
Baltimore.
Americanly challenged, where is that?
That is
Pretty
on the
close.
East Coast.
East Coast.
Pretty close to
Okay.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, in
know where that
between Philly and Washington.
Okay. In America somewhere. Gotcha. Okay.
In America somewhere.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
I'm
Pretty
sure.
close to where the Nova Open happens, actually. If you know about that, that might be a good reference point.
I know it's on the East Coast. Yes. That's. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What would you say? You know, absolute like tagline. Why would I go to the Kill Team Open instead of somewhere else? Let's say. I mean, obviously, this is just a hypothetical. Let's say someone's going to make a big journey once a year to go to one of the Kill Team tournaments. Why am I hitting up Kill Team Open instead of somewhere else?
Because there's no associated 40k Age of Sigmar.
Nice.
It's only Kill Team, and so like all the classes, all the vendors, everything is Kill Team focused instead
Okay.
of like you go to Las Vegas Open
Sure.
and there's a giant 40k tournament, there's an AOS tournament, they've got Star Wars Legion, they got Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's like a Magic the Gathering thing happening in the corner. Like you're kind of like just one of the tiny events that's happening alongside this major event. Whereas
Sure.
at the Kill Team Open, you are the major event. Kill Team is the focus. You know, everything's Kill Team themed, Kill Team focused. It's
Awesome.
a Kill Team love letter, as we're kind of calling it.
Okay. And so this is a full-on convention, not just a tournament then.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Awesome.
call it an open if there's multiple things. So we've got like
Oh, is that
the
okay? I've
After
never heard
Dark.
that. Sure.
After Dark, we've got a narrative, we've got painting classes, we've got an excellent painting competition going on.
Okay.
That's going to be hopefully bringing in some real cool like highbrow painters. We've got vendors and we've got food, free lunch if you get the championship ticket.
If you need someone to
Also,
help you teach how to paint contrast,
hey.
I won't do that because I hate hobby. But I could. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I suppose the next question then is like, let's dive into the competitive just a little bit. Are we doing like a different tournament each day? Are we doing 2 days are for one tournament because you want to pack in like 8 rounds or something crazy, and then another tournament on the third day, or what's going on?
So we have a slightly weird setup, to be honest. We're doing a pod, so a set of pods day one. So those pods will be 16 players facing off, and the top 4 players of the championship move on to day 2 for another 16-man pod, with the winner being the winner of the open. So it's a little bit of a different setup than we've ever done before. So it's one huge tournament, 2 days, but broken up into 5 smaller tournaments, basically.
Okay, so doing pods, and then the winners go on to play in like essentially a separate tournament. Just
Yeah,
among...
so it's like the top 4 of
Sure.
each separate pod, right? So each pod's like 16 players.
Okay. So it's all. Is it going to almost be then? I know what it is. I understand it, but I mean, Is that then going to lead into a seeding? And so you can take the seeds from the pods and say, okay, we actually have a seeding now, and so it's almost like doing an invitational, but it's all within the weekend. Or no, it's just now you have a separate tournament. Hint, hint.
I guess I'll let Dave handle this.
Okay, yeah, go
the
for
head
it.
TO.
Well, originally we're doing the plan right now is to do Swiss pairings. We talked about doing seedings for everything, because to be honest, it would be nice to have the top players end up in the end one. So we don't want, like, let's say, if we had all the 16 best players randomly go into one pod, that would be bad.
Mhm.
but at the same time, mathematically, it shouldn't happen. And we don't want to really be the one to judge who's the best players right now. I mean, Ryan Wolfhelm, the other member of us, he only won one big major before this, but he did win a big major with not big major, but Summer Slaughter he won, and he's one of the better players in the country, at least in the U.S. And like in the rankings, he wouldn't necessarily come out that way. And the same with Alec or any of those other guys that we know are really good, but the question is what makes them better than someone who's coming from somewhere that doesn't have tournaments. We don't know for sure.
For sure, for
Dave,
sure.
just a quick, you've got like a weird kind of high-pitched thing going on with your audio. Don't know if you're like put your camera next to a fan or something.
Yeah, I
But
assume his phone died, which is why he swapped back. But yeah. I was
okay,
going to be
that makes
polite about it. But yeah, yeah. But
That's fair.
it is horrendous audio quality. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So obviously that a lot of that makes sense. Like I just talking about the competitive side of it in general now. I love the idea of doing an invitational, but to get a fair seeded ranking across the entire world, continent, region, super difficult.
Yeah.
Which is why I had the brainwave of, well, if you're already doing pods, you can create the seeding in the day. It's like, oh wow, that's actually like a really nifty idea, which of course you can't do on a 1-day tournament.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
obvious reasons. But suddenly, when you've got the 2 days, even the 3, like, yeah, let's go for it. So just a cool
Yeah, I
idea.
mean,
I
that's
thought, yeah.
definitely something that we can think about for the seeding of the championship pod, just because we're gonna have access to that. We
Sure.
might
Yeah,
we
yeah.
might be able to do some fun stuff with that.
Sure.
But yeah, the format is very unique. But in addition to that, we're also gonna
Yes.
have the After Dark. As the championships finishes, there's gonna be a separate tournament, the After Dark, which is more casual and more fun,
Okay.
and it goes until like 1 a.m. sort of thing. Like it's
Sure.
gonna be black lights, similar to what I'm doing for Las Vegas Open. So
Mm-hmm.
you've heard me probably talk about that enough. And so then we also have a narrative event on Sunday, which is going to be cool for people that care more about the Spec Ops kind of style of play,
Right.
or alternatively, people who didn't make it into the top 16, they can maybe come do the narrative the second day. And then also the second day, we've got a couple painting classes
Right.
and kit bashing sculpting classes going on. So there's a lot of stuff going on kind of concurrently at the event.
Okay. So it's a 2-day event, right?
2-day event,
2-day event.
Saturday and
Okay.
Sunday.
Cool. So day 1, the main event. Day 2, the championship event almost. The tops, and then anybody else. You've got a variety of activities. But for example, at LVO last year, we did day 1, the tournament. Day 2, a second tournament. You're not doing a second tournament for the those that didn't quite make the cut. You're doing alternative tournaments.
Exactly. Or they can
Yes.
do one of the classes too. That's also an option.
Sure, of course. Okay. And you mentioned, was it 4 pods of 16? Is that your total, like, max player count then?
Yep,
Whatever 4 times
64.
16 is? Okay, right. Good. Okay, 64. Awesome. Awesome. Do you have anything, like, I don't know. I feel like I've asked all the questions I want to know. Is there anything else to ask? Or should we talk about Kill Team in general? Or, like, tell me more. What have I missed?
Well, one thing, www.killteamopen.com. Come check it out. If people are listening and want to share it, get the word out. If you go to the blog page, there's a flyer you can print out. We'd really appreciate if you bring it to your local game store so that people can, find out about the event. And if you're someone that is looking to sponsor or volunteer, we're looking for all the help we can get. That's probably one thing I wanted to just throw out there. Um, uh, and then, yeah, maybe talk a little bit about, we've got a pretty cool painting competition going on at the event, which I'm super hyped about. We've got like a champion category and a fire team category, and so there's like a single model or 5 models um, that you can paint up, and there's going to be some killer prizes for that. And we're
Let's
working with
talk about prize support in general.
yeah.
What's going on there?
That is wait, let me look at your that's
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah. Close enough.
Steve. That's his
So,
purview.
so we're this whole venture is about pampering the attendees. We're not out to make a buck on this, so all the proceeds are going back into the players in some form or fashion. Ticket prices, and this is kind of a question that has come up through kind of multiple channels about ticket pricing, and you kind of have to look at kind of the venue, the menu, what we kind of have to provide, and a lot of that is reflected in the ticket price, and the difference goes back into the player, so that'll go towards prize support and swag and what have you, and any other kind of goodies that we can figure out. So what helps us is if people buy tickets early, then we have that bandwidth to throw more money back into the event. Like if you wait the day before, that money is just going to go
Straight
somewhere
into
else
your
and wait till
pockets.
next.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably going to wait till next year.
Yeah, it'll probably go into the year 2 because we're hoping to keep this going. We already booked the venue for 2023, so we're
Sweet. Okay.
we're gonna keep this going. So any of those things will go hopefully towards the next year's.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I've been really hitting the pavement with sponsors. We just got Puppets War on board. They're going to hook us up with some prizes. So we're if any sponsors want to come on, we'll have a conversation. We'll look to see the best way to kind of support things. But at the end of the day, if you want to send us some stuff, we'll allocate it.
And Pirate Lab, they're on board.
Pirate Lab is on board. So they mostly focus on kind of card games and board games cases. But they have pluck foam, and you can convert anything into a miniature case. And they're my preferred brand. So big shout out to Pirate Lab.
And then
the
official sponsors of the championship terrain, Lester's Workshop, they're on board. They'll also be one of our vendors. And then I think you have are we able to say the thing about the one that came in today?
Yeah. Oh, you're not asking me. I would say whatever you want. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Sure.
I mean, Puppets War was the most recent to kind of officially on board, but I'm talking to about a dozen places right now, and everybody's kind of excited and just figuring out the details. Like this could be potentially one of the most sponsored events in tabletop wargaming. It's ridiculous. It's just we're excited, and that excitement is really carrying through to everybody we're talking to.
I will say, like, to talk very briefly on a slightly more generic kill team angle, I hear nothing but good things. I mean, obviously it's slight perception bias, right? But like, I am hearing many more people say, "Oh wow, I now have people that want to play kill team." I have people that after Kill Team 18 kind of died down, like that they were playing 40k, now they were playing other games, Marvel Crisis Protocol, whatever. But suddenly, slowly, obviously because it's only been out like what, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, like slowly, but that people are starting to come back to Kill Team 2021, and they're seeing like, okay, actually this is something I want to play now, and I'm hearing a lot of people say this is much better than 40k. Me and my friends now want to play this instead of 40k, which obviously is like that's not a big thing, but it's still like that's the biggest brand, that's where you can pull the most players from. So odd as it might sound, to your point there, Steve, I think this is potentially like the start of something that could grow to be significantly larger than perhaps anyone is currently aware of.
Yeah. Emmanuel just told me to make a weird face, so that's why that was sorry.
Okay.
I mean, even in our local area, we've seen a huge uptick in new faces. I mean, we had a tournament middle of October, and half of our event was they were completely new people that we had never met before, and it's it's insane. Like, yes, come hang out, like, please.
What
We had a great time.
one of the things that's really impressing me, because we've been selling a bunch of tickets, and I kind of look at the names, like, oh, anyone I recognize, like, other than like one person so far, all the tickets have just been people I've never even heard of before. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, bunch of people from like the area, a bunch of people from like all around the East Coast. I'm like, this is cool. Like, we're, you know, people that haven't been to like a big tournament before, that sort of thing, are coming out, and we're seeing like this interesting delineation where you have like some people are just buying the champions tickets, and then some people are buying like the narrative and the after dark, and so it's kind of cool to see like, oh, you got your casual players and your competitive players, and like, yeah, it's just been really like sort of a whirlwind too, like how many people have been like hitting me up and like, oh, can we do something, right?
For sure.
It's so cool.
Also, we're gonna quickly look to the chat to see what they're asking, because I apparently I must have been lacking questions, so chat filled in. What faction do you all main and why?
Necrons.
That makes sense. Yes, Necrons. Dave?
I actually love the Tau, but I've never played them in Kill Team. But
Okay.
I have right now I have a Commandos force I'm liking, so I'm playing them mostly.
Okay. Power gamer.
And then, but I'm building my Tau up now, so hopefully I'll get them on the board before long.
Pathfinders or Hunter Cadre?
Hunter Cadre. So not the new one. I didn't buy the new box, even though I played both Sisters of Battle and Tau in
Why
Big
not?
40K. I have a new kid, so a year old.
Oh, real life. Okay, I forget about that sometimes.
Real life.
Sorry. Okay, all right. Steve?
So in Kill Team 18, I main Drukhari. People would have seen me at ACO with them, and our last event for Kill Team 18 at Summer Slaughter, I brought them as well. Love them to death. I would say they're probably the most Philly Kill Team.
Okay.
From everybody's experience.
That's very concerning.
A little painful, a little dirty.
Yeah.
But I hadn't had
We'll extort
any
you for drugs.
Yeah, right. I hadn't had any witches painted up, so I've been on Harlequins. Harlequins were actually my very first kill team.
Nice.
That's what I bought from Dave when I got involved. So I'd been playing Harlequins until I get my witches all nice and pretty.
I've got to say, I'm generally a fan of the Eldar in general, but Harlequins with 3 APL is just way more fun than anything. I just love 3 APL. I'm just a huge fan.
Oh, it's liberating.
It is.
You can breathe.
Definitely. I struggle to play 2 APL teams. Not like they're bad. I just don't enjoy them as much. Yeah. And a little bit of a follow up there. As Dave mentioned, he plays Tau and Sisters in 40k. Sheldon, Steve, do you guys play 40k, or are you Kill Teamers for life?
I mean, I've played it before. I have all the books. I could play it if I wanted to, and I have about 20,000 points of Necrons. But for some reason, I just always end up playing Kill Team. I never. I don't know. I sat down and tried to play 40k, and like 4 hours later, we were just starting turn 2, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I can't handle this time commitment. But every single shelf here you see is a different kill team, so I'm
nice. And Steve?
So I've dabbled in both 40k and AOS. I have like 4 AOS armies, and I have about 8,000 points of Drukhari, kind of right there. Nice. That whole thing. But yeah, I mean, kill teams where the love is. It's just way easier to kind of pull people in, and even if you're playing a casual game with somebody, it's just so easy to be like, hey, I got some models. You want to throw some dice and get cooking. I mean, you can teach somebody to play kill team in a day. You can teach them how to play high level kill team in probably like a couple weeks. Like, with 40k, there's just a lot going on, and Sheldon mentioned how long it takes. It takes forever. Oh my God, it takes forever. No thanks. I get tired.
Colors, shapes, or inches? How do you each play in?
Inches.
Inches.
I have a tape measure, so I go back to inches. Yeah.
Inches.
I try to use the actual measuring tools they gave us, but it's just
the way you say try that.
I try, because there's always just like the step. It's just an extra step. You're translating into like shapes. So you're translating from inches to shapes and colors back to inches. Okay. And it's just like, okay, great, whatever.
Well,
so I'll pick up the tool and it'll be the hexagon and I'll say 6 inches and like drop it down. Okay. Great.
Right. The one cool thing about the tool is it makes it really easy to put terrain on the board, but because it's like flat, so you can kind of like do the whole piece. No. But yeah, I mean, the idea behind the shapes, I think, is that you're just looking at the color real quick, and it makes it supposedly faster. But I've just found that like I end up, like Steve said, it's just like you end up translating, and it's like ends up taking longer.
Okay.
Mine is laziness. I forget everything, so I just bring my tape measure that's in my car for work, and I'm done.
Okay. Okay. So I would say that I agree. I have to translate everything in my head. If I'm saying, oh, it's what I hate saying pentagon. But that If
you have the metal one though.
Very nice, very nice. I have to translate everything in my head, but the advantage that I have seen so far is that when you're reading the rule on the page, then the things that stand out, the shapes with the colors, are immediately seeable because they're completely different to the text. So if you're like, oh, what range is that, or how much does that add to my movement, you can immediately see it with a very quick scan of the card. Which I'd rather have the numbers. I'm not gonna lie. It's fine. I'm totally fine with shapes and colors, but I'd be fine with numbers too.
Yeah, if my 4-year-olds can do shapes and colors, I think we can do shapes.
Exactly. Everyone asks. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say the thing that bugged me about the shapes is it felt like there was so much potential in how cool they could have made the system with the shapes, and I feel like there was like this idea like, oh, everyone's gonna have a different kind of movement, so someone's gonna have pentagon, someone's gonna have circle, someone's gonna have triangle, and so the same effect might affect different models differently, but then ended up everybody just had circle, and it was just like, oh, like felt like a wasted opportunity.
We all have circle, but we move in inches still. Or triangles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my our one friend is a big MCP player, and he was all excited because he thought it would be the like end to end, so like the base size would affect the movement.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Well, they didn't do that, so never mind."
Yep. I agree. It feels like there were a few things that should have worked slightly differently, but then maybe we're all just Fantasy Flight gameplay fans because they do such great rule sets, and we just assumed that they were going to copy that, but then didn't for some reason.
And who knows? Maybe when Elites drops, like Terminators will have square movement or something like that, and it's been planned since the beginning or something like that. We'll all eat our words, but I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Once we sign off from this, remind me about this conversation, and I will tell you an amusing anecdote that is not safe for this when it comes to color, shapes, and inches. That's terrifying to say. Like, what the hell's that? But you'll be interested. That's all I'm saying. Arian asks, do you have a tentative vendor list? So back to Kill Team Open.
I mean, we have vendors that are on board. They are listed on the website. So we'll have Lester's Workshop. They'll have space. Our kind of Lester's equivalent on the East Coast, Marauder Industries, they will be present as well. We're trying to reach out to a couple local game stores to kind of have some presence as well. But we're looking for a maximum of 10 vendors. Just due to space, I'm always having to go back and renegotiate our contract for space. I don't know. But we've really had the pedal to the metal on this. We've got about 5 who are on board, and we've got a couple that we're trying to onboard, and then we've got a little bit more space.
Okay, sweet. C Dream GR just says Puppets War, hell yes, which
Hells yes.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got their heads for one of my Necrons.
Puppets War are amazing. I've got to say, I would love. Like, I don't think anywhere in the UK stocks just like a physical store, so you can go and see everything in person before you buy for Puppets War. I assume that's basically what they're doing at the store. Like, they will just have all of their stuff, and you can see it before you buy.
They're going to be a sponsor, not a vendor.
Oh,
so
okay.
They're sending us some. Yeah, they're sending
price
us some
support. Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Well, I would still love to see all their stuff before I buy, because it looks awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
The Last Rider says Pop Goes the Monkey is near you too. Would be cool if they were at KTO. I don't know Pop Goes the Monkey, or maybe I've heard of them, but
they're actually a vendor who's or a sponsor vendor who's done other tournaments of ours, so we're hoping they'll come. We haven't heard confirmation one way or another yet, but Matt's a great guy. He comes to our tournaments. He actually plays Kill Team with us. He hasn't played 21 yet that I know of, but maybe he has around York. So I don't know, but hopefully he comes out.
Yeah, and Pop Goes the Monkey. It's really high quality, weapons and heads and all kinds of bits and fun stuff, and it'll even do kind of bigger, like models and stuff, for alt sculpts and things.
He actually has a really cool squat conversion kit. So you take the AOS dwarves and then you convert them to squats. I like it.
Awesome.
I'm working on a squat kill team myself.
Very cool. I have seen some really cool, like third-party dwarves that you could use as squats if you want to just assume that squats are dwarves, which they are.
I'm using the Blood Bowl dwarves as like the main guys, which they're
Okay.
actually pretty sweet for that.
Nice.
And then the AOS, the Caradron overlords.
Sure. Easy. What are you going to run them as?
Orcs.
Okay. Interesting.
I have a whole crazy plan.
Clearly, yeah. Okay. Super Cow Op. I'm going back like 10 minutes in this chat now. Just remarks that some of his friends has sort of fallen out of Kill Team. They're coming back, and they're saying how much better it is, the new rule set it is. So awesome. People saying they wish they could come, but East Coast and college. Shout out to Dave being an absolutely amazing event host from Tabletop Ninja there.
Nice.
And then they are talking amongst themselves, I assume. Oh, I've missed a lot of the chat.
I got a shout out to Dave too, because he was running the ACO, and I didn't know him before then, and Frontline was just kind of like, this is the guy who you're gonna have to talk to, and he was just a great guy to work with. And then from everybody that was at the event was like, oh man, that was a killer event. He did such a great job, and so that's why I knew, like, oh, this guy's the good guy to work with. Everybody said such nice things.
Awesome.
I'll just say thank you everyone who said nice things. I just want everyone to have fun at my events. I'm not stringent. Like, people, if you want to bring a third-party model, that's cool. I'm pretty open to it. So as for Kill Team Open, that's the same thing. So if you have something cool that you want to bring, send it to me, make sure it's okay. But 99% of the time, we're good.
Can I run Star Wars Legion droids as Necrons?
Are they on the right base size?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't care.
Good, because somebody asked me that for one of my events, and I said yes, of course. Like, why would I say no to that? Yeah, so good. And somebody asks me specifically, am I planning on doing a recap of Bad Moon? Unsure. I never know what I'm doing in life, so I can't. Maybe. I hope so. If I can figure out how to make it clickbait enough title. So yeah. Okay. Awesome. is there anything else specifically about the event that you want to touch on? Like, I don't want to miss out anything. Obviously, we know the basics, the when and the where. We also know the format. We know a little bit about who's turning up. We know a little bit about the side events. Is there like anything else that needs to be said?
Yeah, one thing I want to touch on before Dave jumps in. This is a kind of a family-friendly event. In that, so I bring my family wherever I go, and my wife and kids are just kind of like looking for other people to hang out with. So a lot of times players may not be able to make it out because the family will be completely bored and have nothing to do. Well, all the wives and the kids can hang out and go do stuff around, the Inner Harbor. Super nice area. Go hit some shops, hit some restaurants, hit the aquarium. We're literally like 100 feet away from the National Aquarium. It's wonderful. Mm. So if it's kind of a barrier to entry, don't let it be. There's going to be wives and kids kind of going off and doing their own thing. So, bring them along, make a little vacation out of it.
Teach them how to play Kill Team. We've actually got a few couples already that have signed up as like couples, which is cool. With their kids.
Have you considered a couples kill team event?
Oh.
Like,
I couldn't.
Not till now.
No. Don't do it. You'll sell one ticket, and it's a couples event. How have you only sold one ticket? Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is that after the family friendly note, we will have a pay bar at the event. So.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's true. Fair. Yeah. Also, one thing I guess we didn't really mention, but we're gonna have some raffles there, so like painted armies and stuff. So that's gonna be pretty cool. I just realized that was something we didn't mention. It's just raffles.
Nice.
That's kind of cool. People like those.
They do.
And we are looking at doing a bounty board, which we don't really know how.
And Dave's gone.
So somebody did ask in their policy on conversions. I feel we just kind of touched on that a little bit. Dave, the guy that can officially answer that, is just...
Oh.
But I believe the general gist with conversions, and I assume Dave would back me up on this one, is that as long as it's on the correct base size and has the correct weapons, most people are going to allow it. If he can bring himself back to life, he can confirm that.
Hey.
I okay. Hear you guys. You can hear me.
Yes, yeah, you died there. Yeah.
So yeah, conversions, 100%. We're all good as long as it's on the right base size. I just want everyone to come and have a good time.
Awesome. Okay. Were you obviously you died, so I quickly jumped in to fill that dead air. Were you saying something else before you cut off there?
I don't know.
Fair play. Fair play.
Rewind the tape.
Yeah, sure. Okay, awesome. So that's kind of Kill Team Open done. That is the entirety of it. Ultimately, it's going to be potentially, if you flesh the whole thing out, 64 players, which will be the largest Kill Team event so far. I believe tomorrow there's going to be a 60-person tournament in Madrid, in Spain, which is awesome. Looking forward to the results there. Sunday, I'm going to a 34-man myself. But we haven't hit 64 yet. So we shall see. Maybe you will do it.
The chat's got our back. He was talking about the bounty board.
Yes.
That's what it was.
I don't know what a bounty board is. That's why I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the bounty board was an idea that came from an interview Sheldon did.
Yeah, strategic advantage.
Yeah. I think Emmanuel was talking about a bounty board for Legion.
He's been helping me kind of go over what it is, but essentially you can post challenges, and then if you complete it, you get raffle tickets. Is what we're thinking, but we haven't nailed it down yet. But it's the idea.
Yeah, so somebody could be like, I want to put a bounty on the first person to table Custodes, and then if somebody tables Custodes, they go, I got them, and then they get the prize for whatever was put down.
Okay. Interesting. And so could it also be it could be whatever you want. Could it also be if you know that a particular faction underperforms, let's say, you know, whatever, if you manage to do something with assault intercessors, right? Perform a particular, like, because you think they're particularly weak or something, then, you know, like win a game with assault intercessors only or something like that. Yeah.
So one thing to say about that is, like, these bounties will probably be like done at the tournament. So if nobody had them already, like, to go, that would be a hard one to be like.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But you know, people could put bounties up that are impossible. There's no reason
Okay.
they can't do that.
Fair enough. It sounds good fun.
Yeah, we're still hammering it out. We're hammering out any other
Sure.
kind of fun little things we can add to the event as well. Just kind of day of fun little tchotchke kind of things.
And
Yeah, like,
yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Just like we have some small things going on, casual play types things. Emmanuel mentioned that he was talking about getting his mousetrap back out.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
fun. So things like that. We're looking at you know who the Last Star Strider is. He's working on some stuff that he wants to some like co-op missions and things like that. So we're gonna have an open play area. So if anyone wants to try some more casual fun stuff, more than welcome to.
That was the last thing I thought of. Yeah, are you going to have an open play area, so somewhere you can play other games if those really exist? I don't know, or just
there are no other games.
Yeah. Or just if you want to, I don't know, you don't want to take part in day 2, but you've got 3 hours free. Let's throw down a game or something.
Yeah, even day 1, you know, there's a lot of folks who are shying away from kind of the championships and focusing on the more casual stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna be running a board at registration, so
Okay.
come on down and play me. I need to get some games in, man. I'm crushed that I won't get to play in this.
Oh, I know.
Crushed.
That's the real double-edged sword of being a TO. Like, you put on an amazing event, and it's like, oh, it's really awesome that I could put this on. The people have turned up, but man, I wish I was playing in this event. Yeah.
I had that big realization the first year I started TOing, and I was like, man, I really want to play in some events, and there weren't any, so I started running them, and then I was like, oh, and I can't play in these.
This hasn't changed anything. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, my relationship with Dave is such that he is the method by which I can play in events that we run, because he's the actual TO.
So therefore, the TO's friend is allowed to play. Of course, there's nothing shady there. Yeah.
We actually have extremely strict rules that the club made us enact. So Steve doesn't know anything about the tournament before he shows up.
Oh, okay.
Just that.
Yeah, so. I just push the tournaments out the door because I'm, you know, like Sheldon, I have a marketing background, so we market the hell out of things.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I've got to say, I have seen Kill Team Open appearing everywhere.
Yes.
Because I am exactly the target demographic that would see it in every possible location, because I'm always looking at everything for Kill Team. But I was like,
we're gonna get space in your dreams. Like, that's the next thing.
Living rent free. Love it.
Pay per click, you know.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we're kind of done with Kill Team Open, at least for now. Obviously, we'll sum it up at the end again. But let's just have a little bit of a free-form chat, guys. Who's the strongest faction?
I think it's still Custodes.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. I would say Harley's.
Okay.
For the most part.
So I'll put a rule of mine. If you're rolling up to an event and you have not played a faction, and you are rolling up, you know how to play Kill Team, and someone hands you Custodes, you will do well if you're a decent player. If you're a good player who's practiced with Harleys, I think Harleys beat Custodes in that case.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to delineate the question. It's like, what team would be best for a beginner to be able to have success with, and what team is if you have the most skilled player in the world, which one is just the one that they could do the best with, I guess, or I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I think those are two different scales. Yeah. I think Commandos are a great all-rounder team for that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to make Dave's point, we just helped a store in New Jersey put on a 16-man tournament, and we had a walk-in who borrowed custodes and placed fourth.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what can you do? I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Like
Custodians are definitely the best beginner faction, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
100%. 100%.
Hands
18
down.
wounds, 2 up save. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're playing against another beginner that doesn't know how to handle, like, play against them, they're practically invincible. Yeah, yeah. Not that I
Yeah.
think they can't be played around, like removing, not Peerless Warrior, Brotherhood of Demigods, changing the way that works, removes one of their big gotcha feelings. So I think that was really good from GW there.
Yeah.
I'm undecided on the 3 APL to 4 APL thing, but yeah, it's good, I suppose.
I thought they should have done 3 APL and brought them down to 3 models, but I was like pretty harsh.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, custodians need to be like this
Yeah.
boot hammer.
Yeah. Damn.
Nowadays in the 2018 version player,
Sure.
so I really liked Custodes back then, and I was happy they were really good, but then I never got them because none of my friends wanted to play me. So
Yep.
The one thing I was thinking, because when that whole conversation started, like back before the nerf, everyone was talking about like, oh, bringing them down to 3 models is too much. I'm like, the whole last edition they were at 3 models, guys. Like you could even run them at 2 models. Like it's not a big deal. That's their thing. They're like superhuman, but there's just a few of them.
I don't know. I'm happy with the change made. I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I wanted or would have done, but I think in the end, it's worked. I'm gonna use the phrase worked.
I mean, I think the thing that the nerf avoided was swinging too far the other way.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
it would have been completely easy to kneecap the faction entirely and just ignored them for the rest of this game. I think just kind of this incremental little shift kind of is showing a little bit of thought on Games Workshop's part, and kudos to them. I don't say that very often, but kudos to them. This was an incremental change instead of just going the complete opposite way. So we'll take it, and we play it and we test it, we see how it works.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they went from max scoring to now, if you're a good player, you can still win with them, which I think is where every faction should be at, right?
Have we really seen many tournaments since the nerf though? We kind of had the first month was jam packed, like there were big tournaments every weekend, and now there have still been some, but like much smaller. And I don't think Talons have won anything.
I think the thing that sold me when I was doing SoCal Open was Janice showed up with Custodes, and if there's any like player combo that like, and she didn't get first place in either day.
Sure.
So I mean the fact that that just shows that like, I mean either it shows that Emmanuel and Alex are just so god level
possible,
but it also might show that they're not like, Custodes aren't at that god tier where it's just like unbeatable, at least. That to me was a big like selling point for, oh, they're not cripplingly unbeatable, at least.
Sure.
Or
it shows that bespoke teams are too powerful, as I assume they were running Hunter Clade and Commandos, right?
You are not wrong.
I know them too well. Yeah, that's what they would run. Yeah.
I will say that the one tournament that I went to recently, Grey Knights won, and I was really happy to see that. So I do like them. I just don't play them. But
yeah, Grey Knights are very nice. Grey Knights are an odd one. They've got like everything they have is relentless. Like so they're so efficient and reliable. But I do think they have bad matchups, and I'm not quite sure. Like, they're really good, interestingly, into, for example, Commandos. Anything with that low armor save, they seem to just blow through. And so even though the Commandos have those 10 wounds, it's not really that big of a deal for them. But I found, if they were going into other power armor, I found they falter a little bit in that regard.
They did beat Custodes in the last round.
Sure.
Of the tournament, so. That was my argument for them, but the the guy that was playing them was talking to me, and he was saying that he doesn't think that you should use the psychic abilities, which I honestly can't tell you, but he just stated.
I do have to admit, when I first looked at Grey Knights, I was like, these psychic abilities are kind of meh. But that was in comparison to Thousand Suns, which are just like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually quite like the differentiation. It's like Grey Knight's buff, Thingamabob's attack. Even though I know that Thousand Suns do have buffs, that's not the point. Nobody was using them because you had attacks, so it's fine. Yeah.
It's just, I think it just was kind of like a weird thing because like Smite was like their only power for the last edition, and it's like you don't even have that analogous kind of ability anymore. So it's like, which is what I think of when I think of psychic ability, is like you're blowing someone's head up.
That is true. Okay, so, did we have any other thoughts as to top team there? No, we're all happy with that. What is the worst faction in the game?
Ooh.
I'm gonna target Sheldon here. Necron.
Interesting. Okay.
I think if you went like fire team, I would definitely say yes. Flayed ones are the worst fire team in the game. But I think that like if you're looking at faction as a whole, I don't know, because like Immortals are pretty strong. I don't play them very often, but they're pretty good, especially with those the Starfire cores.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Two-circle movement. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Two-circle movement is really frustrating to play with. But I'm actually surprised to hear you say Necrons. For example, in the tier list video I just did, I only put them on. I put them on like the second to last tier, and a lot of people were like, "Actually, I think Necrons were a hidden gem." To be fair, somebody says everything's a hidden gem, so ignore that. Like, I'll put like Custodes on the top tier and say, "I think little hidden gem in Custodes." It's like, what are you talking about?
Honestly, I do think Necrons have the ability to be pretty good. I wouldn't put them at the worst, but
Sure.
yeah, if you were talking all flayed ones, yeah, that's probably the worst this edition. Because like I've been trying to make them work. All flayed ones is just like goes into everything. It's being meat grind.
Yeah, the one I've been having the least success with is Kroot.
Really?
I've actually been running Kroot because the matchups are really complicated. You're up against any kind of power armor or anything like that. You can't trade. And then the shooting, you're like hitting on fours for a lot of it, and it gets complicated. And you gotta do a lot of razzle dazzle. You can run dogs. Dogs can't interact with the objectives though. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. But like, it's just the team I haven't had a lot of luck with. I've played Grey Knights to success, Harlequins to success, Drukhari to success, but Kroot, I just can't seem to, really find any momentum there. I'll run up against a guy who, I think the only game I really won was against a scout team because I could trade with them. I could just run in there and punch them. They punch me back, and it made sense. But everything else, and kind of putting the cards on the table. I'm more of a positional player than, doing the math hammer stuff and, with a 17% chance versus a 22% chance. Like, risk assessment is its own thing. Like, we could have a conversation about it. But even using Kroot positionally, it gets a little complicated because as soon as you start getting chewed up, you just kind of get pushed into a corner. Kind of thing.
I think like the problem with like this, I mean, I guess it's not a problem. The thing about this game is that I think every team has play with certain fire teams. So like, I think if you put like, oh, what's the worst team? They've got like, like you always talk about like Eldar being bad, but if you play Rangers, they're great. They're a great team. So it's like if you have Marines are terrible, but if you play Scouts, they're actually a pretty good team. So it's like it's kind of hard to say like this one umbrella faction is like terrible because almost everyone has like a fire team that compete. But I would say if you took like which team has the most bad fire teams, I think my answer would be Marines. I think Marines have like the most bad options
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the easy pick on the Marines kind of thing. I think that's the easy thing, the easy answer.
But just, I mean, like, look at those heavy intercessors. That's just a joke.
Yeah, I don't know what GW was thinking on that one. Yeah.
Somebody bring them the Kill Team Open. Prove us wrong. Let's see it. Let's see it.
They may just do it. Yeah, who knows, right? Once they get the buff to 4 APL, sure, I'll take them. Yeah. They're like, sorry guys, it was a typo. They were meant to be 4 APL.
Right.
I don't know. Cross my fingers they bring back Star Striders and.
Oh yes.
I mean, they must be, right, because they just released the 40k Octarius Book 2, and it had the Star Strider models in as this is a team, and we all know that
30
GW
Voidsmen now.
Is it 30? Crazy.
30 Voidsmen in Kill Team or in 40k.
40K. And we all know, of course, that GW does not put out rules for models they don't sell. They don't currently sell them, so they must be about to bring them out, right?
Because when you look at the Voidsmen, or I guess Star Striders, and Gellerpox, they seem like tailor-made for this new edition. They've got like they're basically the bespoke teams that they're trying to make for all these other teams. Like I've been emailing the kill team at GW PLC for like years, saying like you need to put them in separate boxes. You'll sell them like hotcakes if they were in little like buy all the Star Striders, buy all the Gellerpox. Like they would be.
I assume that's what they're gonna do. But
I hope. I really hope, because I need like another 20 Voidsmen.
Awesome. Okay, let's. We're still just shooting the breeze. Is that a phrase? Shooting the breeze? Does one shoot breeze?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
in America, apparently, you can shoot anything you want.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That's not.
It's its own.
You can shoot a very inappropriate word for poop.
Oh yes, we're allowed to swear. I just didn't say that because I don't know. I'm feeling very conservative today. Apparently, yeah. I don't know why. So I just came from playing like 2 hours before this began. I was playing a game today. It was my first time playing Death Guard. I've played as Death Guard. I've played against Death Guard before. This time I was playing as them. What was I playing into? Genestealer Cults. Now, I have not actually played or seen Genestealer Cults on the board before. Whenever I talk about them in the way that I do because I think they have some fundamental rules that, like, on paper make sense. And then also I've spoken to, like, some top players. And then also I've seen how they performed in tournaments, and I kind of formulate my ideas around that. So I was expecting to have a really tough game, but I cleared him off the board by the end of turn 3, which is a thing that can happen when you're playing a team that has primarily 7 wounds. And so this is kind of going back to the talk of how do you decide what's a strong team, what's a bad team. Talking about the tier list, in my tier list, I put GC Cults at the top of the board, right? Like they are probably one of the top teams, but they are also so
Only
fragile.
When Micromancer's running them.
Exactly, yes, but they're so fragile that if you don't know how to play them, you could just get shot off the board. Which leads me there's a point here. Which leads me into feel bad moments in Kill Team. Some people are just going to love Genestealer Cults, want to run them. They're just getting a new 40k codex. There's a new box with them and Custodes coming out. Maybe we're going to see them on the table. Maybe someone's coming in first game of Kill Team. They're taking Genestealer Cults, a team that is really powerful. And if they read online, they're going to see a lot of people saying, these guys are good. These guys are strong. You're going to, you can take these to the top. But then they get wrecked. How do you feel we, as introducers of Kill Team to new players, can help new players get around feel bad moments? To be clear, that was just a complete anecdote. We don't have to talk about Genestealer Cults. That was just my lead-in. yeah, get better.
I personally roll where if I'm playing a teaching game, I should lose.
I agree.
So
yep.
if I'm doing a teaching game, you do a horrible mistake, you take it back. You can take 3 turns back. I don't care. Like, you should be learning what you're doing wrong. Tournament game, obviously, you crush a newbie if they're at a tournament. I understand that. It's a tournament. But
I just lose every game. That's my solution.
yeah. That's why I'm doing that too. Yeah, that's good.
Then nobody ever has feels bads, you know.
But would you say, like, let's see if we can figure out what the top 4 feel bads are. I already know what my top gotcha is for new players. What do you think is like the biggest amount of friction that a new player comes up against when they play their first, second, third game? Melee, okay.
I mean, I would say it's just a basic not understanding the depth of the team that they're playing or playing against. That's where all the gotchas come in. If you've never played Custodes and pre-nerf, they've got like a 17-inch charge and you don't see it coming, like, it's going to be like a punch in the face. And
that Brotherhood of Demigods was a crazy feel bad.
Yeah. And I mean, there's current things like I saw the new Warp Coven faction just recently, and somebody just brought it, and I hadn't seen it, and I said, okay, let's see what happens. And then he just did this gotcha, moved across the board, was able to kind of shoot me out of cover and like kill me, even though like I was just like, holy crap, like that is insane.
Right.
But when I do the teaching games, just I lay everything out. And like Dave said, you take things back and you can talk about what you're going to project. You say, if you move here, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. But I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing is when you're playing somebody new and they don't have an understanding of the depth of the game. And if you're going to play to depth, if you're going to play at the high competitive level against somebody who's brand new, you're probably not going to get that person to come back. Like,
I definitely think like when you're doing like any sort of teaching game, it's better to kind of go back to like the basics. So like back in Kill Team 2018, whenever I would teach someone the game, I haven't really done too many teaching games lately, #COVID, but back in the day, what I would do is I wouldn't even touch secondary objectives. Like it would just be just the primaries. We're just gonna focus on like the basic mechanics of the game. Then there's no like, oh well, I'm on the 4 corners of the board and I got domination and I got all, and they're like, well, whereas if it's just like, oh, I'm holding these objectives, it's like, oh, that's something a new player can understand. That's something that's like easily translatable. Similarly in this, if we just went with mission primaries, I think that's a good way to kind of introduce someone to the game without getting all into the tac ops and all that stuff and confusing them right off the bat,
And Dave, did you have a specific like gotcha?
Yeah. I actually experienced it. So I'll say this: like, my son was sick for like the first month of Kill Team release 2021. So I actually didn't play any games until like a month ago. I got like 1 or 2 games in, and then when I did, the line of sight shooting rules, I was like, I see your model. I know they're up against a heavy terrain piece. This is a perfect shot from 2018. Oh, it's not legal. Okay. So heavy terrain blocked my view. Can't shoot it. Okay. That's fine. But like, that was kind of, if you're shooting something and you see it, it feels bad to like not be able to shoot it. Like the line of sight's there. The rules seem to say it should be shot. You have Vantage, but it can't be shot. So
I had sort of the opposite happen, where I had a model behind heavy cover, but it was like close enough that the heavy cover didn't count. And I was like, oh, I'm behind a heavy thing. I should be fine, right? And then they're like, well, actually, 1 inch. I'm like,
consult the flow charts.
yeah. Interesting. So I feel, so obviously these are all valid things, but it is line of sight is my biggest issue.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad. I don't think it's bad. To me, it made sense. Like, Assuming you never read the book and somebody else just tells you how it works, it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. If is the front of your base within an inch of terrain, you can shoot through it. If the middle of your base within an inch of terrain, okay, you can't be shot. Like, essentially, that's it, right?
People at home, this is the guy who did the video about how to do line of sight before the game ever even came out.
Yeah, because it was so difficult. I had to have a playtester phone me up on Discord, and I just went over different, like, I'm moving my model half an inch at a time closer to, can he be shot now? Can he be shot now? I was like, now he can't. It's like, okay, I get it. But I think for a new player, okay, sorry, no. For a new player, you just say, no, I can't shoot you, or yes, I can shoot you, right? But I think that once you go to that next step, you go to a tournament, you have to, like, for me, the core of the game is orders and shooting people when they don't think they can be shot. That's the core of the game. And that always, in my mind, is just a bit of a feel bad. Because you think you're safe. Like, even for me now, it's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm like half an inch to that cover. They're not going to be able to get me. And it's like, oh, move dash, I can shoot you. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, no. You got me. Bollocks. What do I like? I'm really like, yeah, and obviously that's the game. I get it now, but I think that can be a real feel bad because certainly when I play 40k, and when I play Kill Team, but more so 40k because it's a little bit less dynamic. I play by intent. I'll move a model, say, "Are you okay that no one can see this model now?" And they says, "Yep, okay. This guy can't see him unless he moves." It's like, okay, 2 thumbs up, good. Because obviously that's such a static game, and you have to wait like an hour until they take their next turn and move. You've forgotten what you said in the first place. But in this one, you move, you say, am I safe? You say, yep, can't see you. Their turn, move. I can shoot you. It's like, yeah, you can, okay. And I think, for me, that's a real point of contention. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's one of the benefits / downsides of a alternating game, you know, compared to a turn-based game, I think. Sorry, Dave, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, that's kind of why, like, Guild Ball died, for example. Like, the new players couldn't come in and do anything about it. Like, I thought I was safe, and then all of a sudden, a shark charges way across the board and scores a goal. Like, it felt like shit. So, yeah, I mean, you have to do it, but it's not, I don't think it's as bad as some games, I should say.
Yeah, my understanding with Guild Ball, is that it died because it was too tightly written and too competitive, and there wasn't enough random chance, and so the best players were legitimately the best players, and people could not beat them. Whereas hypothetically in 40k, you can roll such poor dice that even the best player can be beaten by a middling player, sort of thing. It is my rough understanding of that situation. Is that right?
It's pretty accurate.
Okay.
I mean, I lost every game I ever played other than one of Guild Ball, and I played a lot of Guild Ball. So,
right. That sounds crushing. Yeah.
It was. Steve can attest. I don't mind losing. So.
Well, good.
Good sport, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting dichotomy because I hear similar things, a little bit less so, but similar things in War Machine. You should win your first game because it's a teaching game and you're allowed to. They let you win, but then you're going to win every game for the next year or lose every game for the next year because I don't know if you know they use a slightly more like a dice system that is easier to manipulate because it works on a bell curve as opposed to individual dice rolls, and so you are able to more accurately know whether or not something's going to actually work or not, and then you can boost a dice, blah blah blah. And so again, the best player wins significantly more than the best player wins in 40k or Kill Team. So.
I know that with Kill Team, I lost my first game, and then I literally won my second game, against the same player because I went, well, maybe, let me try a more fun list instead of this like net list that I had come up with. And I was like, I was gonna do 10 flayed ones, and then
Oh, okay.
completely wiped them off the board. And it was like this, if I hadn't lost that first one, I might not have been so motivated to like change things. And so, everybody kind of has different, if you expect to win your first game, then it's like, is that realistic too? So I don't know. It's a hard one. Some people losing their first game, that could be like the thing that gets them to be like, no, I'm gonna win this game. This is, I'm gonna devote time into figuring out what I lost, how I lost. And then other people, it's like, oh, I lost one game, I'm done forever.
That's me. Yes, that's me. If I ever lose a game of Kill Team, I'm done. I'm canceling the channel. Luckily, I'm just so good, I never do. Let's not look into
LVO.
Yeah. So anyway, I suppose it's wrap up time. Let's rein it back in.
All right.
Oh no, let's say one final thing. Going down the line, what is your favorite? If you had to pick one thing, what is your favorite thing about Kill Team? Sheldon, take it away.
I really like the miniature war aspect of like you're looking at like a tiny little like encapsulated battlefield, and it's like, oh, you get to see all the, it's like that hyper realistic miniaturized world is probably the thing that draws me the most to it. I don't, nothing to do with rules, but it's just like that, like the feeling of the game when you're playing it. It's like, oh, there's my little guy and he's going through that little corridor or whatever. It's like you can kind of imagine in your head your guy running down some corridor shooting a gun, and that's the part that gets me, sort of that like
the theme, the narrative of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dave?
For me, I know this is gonna be really lame, so give me a little break here. It really is hanging out with the guys. I go to the tournament and I don't play, but I'm bullshitting. I'm taking pictures of miniatures. I'm seeing everyone have a good time, and then we go to the bar afterwards. I get a sandwich and I get a beer, and we chill out and we say all the crazy shit that happened that day, and that's what I live for. So the actual game, honestly, for me, it could be any game. I love hanging out with everyone and seeing everyone, but Kill Team especially, I like being able to have all sorts of factions and bring them out and just bullshit around with people.
Sweet. Okay. Steve?
Well, Dave kind of stole my answer, man.
Well, you have to think of a new one. We can't all be the same, Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm a competitive player by nature, but I like to combine the competitive nature of the game with, what Dave had just said, because I don't think, and there's a lot of misconceptions about the competitive community, and I don't think they're mutually exclusive. You can have a very tight-knit, easygoing, friendly, personable community that is playing at higher levels, and it's not to the exclusion of people who aren't there yet. Like Dave said, anytime we have a tournament, we go catch something, we go to a pub or go get something to eat afterwards, and we hang out and we enjoy each other's success, and we talk about the game and what's happened, but it's that competitive nature that really kind of draws me in. It's kind of the chess match with the opponent and looking to see what they're thinking about and trying to outplay them and trying to meet it. So that plus Dave, so I'm going to take some of his stuff.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
His favorite thing is the word bespoke.
Yes.
The inside jokes are.
What else should we call them, Steve? What else could we call them?
Say special or unique. I mean, bespoke has certain implications. I understand
it does.
The British term.
It's not.
Been deregulated. It was deregulated from the tailoring.
Stupid. I hate the term bespoke team.
I hate it too.
But what else can I call it?
It kind of caught on to the hipster marketing terminology.
It must have, yeah. Okay.
I can't.
I guess it's not the teams are bespoke. It's that they are bespoke, as in made for Kill Team. They're bespoke to Kill Team, not the teams themselves are a bespoke team. Does that help?
No.
Fair.
No,
it doesn't.
not at all. I mean, bespoke is the new artisanal or the artisan.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's just the new marketing kitsch, and
Do you want them to be called artisanal teams?
I would prefer that to bespoke.
It sounds
now
funnier.
We can be the cool hipsters and bring artisanal back. You know,
Well,
we liked it since before it was cool.
I'm playing an artisanal team today. Commanders,
Right?
yeah.
These are my artisanal towels.
Yeah, I might start doing that. Yeah. It's better than
Notes of the
bespoke.
greater good.
Yeah. So coming back to Kill Team Open now, like for those that have tuned out and forgot to what's happening, when is it? Where is it? Basics, and then one more question after that. But hit me with the basics again.
www.killteamopen.com.
Nice.
My man. February 19th and 20th, Baltimore, Maryland, United States, situated conveniently between Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., for your convenience. We will be at the Marriott Waterfront on the Inner Harbor. It's going to be a wonderful venue. Tons of local attractions and fun stuff. We're running 64-player championship tournament, which is going to span 2 days. So 4 16-player pods, moving into a top 4 from each pod to play on the second day. We have After Dark, which is going to be super trippy and fun and casual and boozy. That's going to be Saturday night. And then Sunday, we will have a narrative event that runs parallel to the final championship pod. We're also having a pro-level painting competition. It's going to be off the hook. We're going to have multiple classes. We're going to have 2 painting classes at least on Sunday. We're going to have a sculpting and a kit bashing class on Sunday as well. Possibly adding more to Saturday if there's space. We're also going to have as much open play area as we can, so you can come on down and hang out. You know, even if you're not participating in an activity at that time, come down, throw some dice. I'm going to be bored at registration. Come hang out with me, please. And free lunch for staff, volunteers, and championship players on Saturday as well. And raffles and swag. Dave will be there. Sheldon will be there. I will be there. Our 4th partner, Ryan Wilfong, will be there as well.
Awesome. And now going down the line, so Sheldon, Dave, Steve, what is the one aspect of Kill Team Open that you are most excited about?
Most excited about. Can I go last? I gotta think about
Okay,
this.
we'll go Dave first.
I'm actually really excited for the kit bashing and sculpting courses. I really wish I could take it. They are looking really, 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 really good. And I suck at everything to do with the hobby, but I wish I could go. And I will be TOing the championship. So you might see me crying and looking at the painting class while the tournament's going on. But
Steve.
Okay, I got mine. Steve, though.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because mine's going to be really good.
Oh.
No,
okay,
we're going. The same as mine, so I'm not.
Fair. Okay. I mean, I'm you know, I enjoy hospitality, and I'm really excited to have everybody in a place that we can spoil, that we can pamper, and show them, like, thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for coming to hang out with us and trusting us with your money to be able to pamper you and give you an event for you, you know, for kill teamers by kill teamers. Yeah. That's the most exciting thing for me, is to get everybody in a place and having fun. Every event Dave and I do, that's our goal. That's our mission. That's the mission of Kill Team John. You know, we expanded the team. You know, Sheldon is bought in, Ryan's bought in, and we're going to spoil people. Please, that's our favorite part. That's my favorite part, is getting in, you know, hopefully have everybody have the best time of their life.
I'd like to say Steve stole mine, but it's not true. I'm excited about the painting competition. I'm not a very good painter, but like the fact that we've got Dan from Listening to Paint Dry just hit us up. It was like the most random thing. Like, we had already made the announcement. We weren't planning on doing a painting competition. We were kind of doing like the best painted thing, and he hit us up and was like, you know, COVID, we haven't had any big painting competitions. Like, you know, everything's been shut down. We want to host one at your event. and the fact that it's like happening and like it's like a real painting competition, like all the rules, like there's lawyers, it's crazy. I'm like, this is so exciting. I can't wait to see people's like really cool painting and like looking at the gallery and like the little display cabinets and like, oh man, look, this guy painted this really cool fire team or whatever, like I'm super excited about that, and working with like these expert painters at the painting classes are actually going to be the judges. So we've got like, award-winning painters as judges, and like this is like the real deal. I don't know. To me, that's exciting. Also, like when you look back at something like Adepticon, the crystal brush was what put them on the map. Like the painting competition really like can make an event go to the next level. So I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah, we're not saying this is going to be the next crystal brush, but
But
this is
it's
going to
gonna
be
be
the next crystal brush. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I've seen Sheldon's sketches of the trophies, and they are really nice. So.
Oh yeah, I should. I was thinking about bringing them. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, fine. I will be the one to say it. I am excited for the competitive aspect of the I want to know the results. I want to know the meta. We're better to find that out than possibly the largest kill team tournament of 64 players.
Hey, we'll take that plug, man.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So a fist
Yeah.
and
With
a
a
drop one. Pretty
paintbrush.
awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
then-
like 3D
Spoiler
print
alert.
them, or are you gonna?
Dakota from Lester's workshop, he's gonna laser cut them.
Oh, cool.
Laser etch them, and they're gonna be like cool.
Like acrylic
Kind of like
pieces.
like you get those. Yeah, like when you
Sweet.
go to Warhammer World and you get those cool like.
The chainsaw thing.
Yeah, so it's gonna be something
Okay.
like that.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're all good to go. Do you want to say? Oh, I should have asked this right at the beginning. Are the tickets on sale now?
Yes.
Where do I get them from?
www.killteamopen.com.
There you go. All right. Do you want to say goodbye, guys?
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Thank you very much, everybody in chat. Thank you very much, everybody that's watching this later. This has been a Kill Team Open. Make sure to go and check it out. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day.